Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Music Industry City News at Noon, where we look at today's headlines, tech, and what's going on in the music industry. We will be starting the program in just a moment. Keep in mind, you can invite your friends to join the show, and if you'd like to offer your thoughts on today's topics, you can request to come to the stage and participate into the discussion. You can find all of today's headlines from our website, musicindustrycity.com. Head to the latest Music News at Noon post to see all the articles covering the show, and sign up for free to unlock all the access to content and other music business news. You can also watch us live on the video stream right from the website or on the Music Industry City YouTube channel. Is everyone ready? We begin the countdown right now. From New York, it's the Music News at Noon on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. I'm Peter Schwing, and please join me in welcoming our UK correspondent, Angela Randall.
Hey, Peter. Sorry about that. A little bit of reception issues, but hopefully you can hear me okay now.
All right, we can hear you. We can hear you perfectly. Thanks for that. Eli has the day off, so we're going to talk about today. Nirvana is being sued by the Nevermind Baby. Fake OpenSea staff are stealing NFTs. Nearly 5,000 COVID cases after a music festival. TikTok launches e-commerce shopping, and an AI can create stems from a full song. And as always, our daily Spotify update. Those stories are coming up, but first, let's take a look at this day in music history with Angela Randall. Angela.
Thanks, Peter. Today we remember this date in 2001. American singer, actress Aaliyah was killed in a plane crash in the Bahamas, age 22. The small Cessna plane crashed a few minutes after takeoff, killing everyone on board with the exception to four passengers who were killed in the wreckage, who were pulled from the wreckage but later died. Aaliyah had been filming a video for her latest release, Rock the Boat, on the island. This day in 2000, we lost Academy Award-winning film score composer and record producer Jack Nitzsche, who died of a heart attack. He produced the Rolling Stones, Neil Young, Buffalo Springfield, and the Walker Brothers. Musical scores including The Exorcist, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, co-wrote Up Where We Belong with Buffy Sainte-Marie from 1982 film An Officer and a Gentleman, in memory. Born on this day in 1918, composer, pianist, conductor Leonard Bernstein. On this day in 1933, 10-time Grammy Award winner and American jazz saxophonist and composer Wayne Shorter, who has worked with Miles Davis and Weather Report with the 1976 single Birdland. Happy birthday. Today in 1949, born Gene Simmons of Kiss. Also born today in 1951, Rob Halford, lead singer of Judas Priest. And today, one of my personal faves, born in 1954, Declan McManus, also known as Elvis Costello. Born today in 1961, Billy Ray Cyrus, who some of you might know as the father of Miley and Noah Cyrus. Happy birthday to him. And lastly, born on this day in 1966, Norman Rogers from Public Enemy. On this day in history, in 1965, two female Beatles fans hired a helicopter to fly over the house the Beatles were renting in Beverly Hills, California, and jump from the helicopter into the swimming pool. On this day in 2005, two former members of Guns N' Roses were suing singer Axl Rose for allegedly naming himself sole administrator of the U.S. rock band's copyrights. Slash and Duff accused Rose of, quote, arrogance and ego. The legal action claimed the singer was, quote, no longer willing to acknowledge the contributions of his former partners. And with this day in history, that's it for us. Back to you, Peter.
All right, thanks for that. You know, in honor of his birthday, you know, it's like, what is that song? It's the End of the World as We Know It. You know, the REM song. It's like every party you go to, it like never fails that. Basically, you know, people might not know any of the lyrics, but as soon as they say Leonard Bernstein, everybody cheers, yells it out, and then everybody goes back to talking.
I'm guilty of it 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, all right, I've done it myself, and maybe it was at a frat party or two. So, we're going to be talking today summaries, commentaries on the latest headlines. If you'd like to offer your thoughts on one of today's topics, request to join the stage. And I'd also like to say hi to everyone viewing the show on our video live stream over on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and directly from the Music Industry City website. To stay up to date on this and other programming, you can sign up for Music Industry City for more news, articles, and events. All right, with that being said, let's get to it. All right, and this first piece is from digitalmusicnews.com. To access all the articles mentioned in today's show and throughout the week, visit musicindustrycity.com and view today's Music News at Noon post, and you can access all the articles that we are referencing. All right, this one starts off. Nirvana is getting sued by the baby on the Nevermind album cover for child pornography. So Digital Music News has they got the lawsuit, and so there's a lot in here, and we're only going to talk about some of the stuff that's mentioned. It's a real deep dive what the original baby is talking about. So according to a legal complaint obtained by Digital Music News, Spencer Eldon, who is now 30, is the baby on the Nevermind cover. He is also suing the photographer of the cover, Kurt Weddle, the album's art director, as well as Geffen Records, Nirvana LLC, the estate of Kurt Cobain, the surviving members of Nirvana, which include Dave Grohl, Warner Music Group, Universal Music Group, and several others. So he's suing everybody that was involved in this. The lawsuit claims that Nirvana, Weddle, the labels, and the others engaged in, quote, commercial child pornography and a, quote, sex trafficking venture by featuring the 4-month-old Eldon on the cover. They are also accused of, quote, violations of federal criminal child pornography statutes. Continuing the quote, defendants knowingly produced, possessed, and advertised commercial child pornography depicting Spencer, and they knowingly received value in exchange for doing so, the suit states. Eldon is seeking damages of, quote, all profits and unjust enrichment from the album. It also alleges that Eldon was, quote, forced to engage in commercial sexual acts while under the age of 18 years old. It goes on to say the permanent harm he has proximately suffered includes but is not limited to extreme and permanent emotional distress with physical manifestations, interference with his normal development and educational progress, lifelong loss of earning income capacity, loss of past and future wages, past and future expenses for medical and psychological treatment, loss of enjoyment of life, and other losses to be described and proven at a trial of this matter. And there's a lot going. I mean, they using the word sex trafficking in something like this, they're like laying everything out. And this is and people are also then saying it's like, well, he's done numerous retakes of the album as an adult over the years. He even tattooed Nevermind on his chest, which suggested in the article it suggested that Eldon embraced the cover in his role in rock history. But going back to 2016 in a GQ interview, he revealed a change of heart, and he goes, quote, it's fucked up. He said, referring to the cover, I'm pissed off about it, to be honest. So this is going to be a very interesting case and see how this unfolds. And if anybody has heard any more or has some comments or wants to add to this, feel free to jump up on the stage.
Interesting one, Peter. I'm as a person who was alive when the album was released, and I remember the release, and I remember the response to it. It was definitely not highlighted in any of those lights at the time. I don't even remember the Tipper Gore herself, which kind of went on ad nauseum about explicit lyrics and about endangering the lives of children by their ears. Certainly never brought up to anyone's mind the cover or how it may be considered sexualized. I'm kind of at a loss with that one, but yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out. It does very much speak to the culture of the day, which is to potentially cancel or strike from the record, if you will, something that happened 30 years ago that may or may not have been approached innocently, and it's now obviously changed their tune. Yeah, be interesting to see how this plays out.
Right, and the article goes much deeper into the accusations and the accusations of the time and how, he was basically characterizing Kurt Cobain as a terrible person and a sex trafficker. Like these are things that are said in that article. So I encourage people to read to read more into it as opposed to just listening to the paraphrasing and the summarizing here. And the other thing that it was talking about is that it was from his father that it was okayed it, and they would pay $200 for it. So these are other things. He's not getting any royalties on this. So there are definitely some things that could have been handled different. I mean, this goes back to. Yeah, it's not the same thing in any way, shape, or form. Okay, but when you go back to the wall with the children, hey, teacher, leave us kids alone, that weren't paid anything. And then later it's like, okay, you were part of something. Now you're going to get, you can get paid for it. So it takes a lawsuit. So it depends on like what he's really looking for here. And if, or if somebody else has just gotten to his head saying, let's just sue them for everything and then we don't know anything more. This just came out. So it's, but we want to make sure, we don't want things like this to, what you hear a lot, like children that are affected later on in life due to circumstances in entertainment, and we don't want that to happen. So, Julianne, how you doing? You raised your hand. Something that you would like to add to this?
Yeah, I think that it all, really hinges on what it was that he was dealing with his parents at the time, because they certainly have a role in this. So I'm curious if they are part of the named parties, but it also just dawned on me that this is going to have a significant impact on the concept of work for hire, because as I read the article, the photographer called the father, offered him the $200, and said, you just got to throw your kid into the drink. In other words, the pool. So it seems to me that the photographer hired the child, and then the product that he created in the photo was sold to the label / band or other parties involved. So could that possibly be the chink in the armor that allows Nirvana to continue using it and leaves the photographer having to answer for the responsibility of the photo? I think that's a point to discuss.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And talking about the family, the father is the one that signed off on this and collected the money. And therefore at that age, was he 4 months old? So this is something of the responsibility of the parents. And is he, suing them as well? So interesting take. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about this, and it's going to set it. I'm sure it's probably also going to set a precedent and the future. So thank you for joining us on that, Julianne. All right, let's talk about NFTs for a moment, because if anybody's ever tuned in and listened to me get on my soapbox from time to time about NFTs, I'm all for NFTs. I love it. I love crypto. I love blockchain. And I always say, do your research, know what you're getting involved in. And, there's now articles like how to spot a crypto scammer. I mean, 2017, it was like 90%, don't hold me to that number, but it was a very high percentage of the crypto initial coin offerings, the ICOs, were scams. And now we're going to start seeing this in this NFT market. And this one is from bleepingcomputer.com. And I actually came across this on Twitter because they talk about, it was from this person who was live tweeting how his account was getting in real time. He was watching them steal his NFTs. So the article is called Fake OpenSea Support Staff Are Stealing Crypto Wallets and NFTs. And it says, go on, an aggressive Discord phishing attack is targeting OpenSea users to steal cryptocurrency and NFTs. The threat actors have been lurking in OpenSea's Discord server for the past week, posing as legitimate support representatives, providing private support to OpenSea customers in need of assistance invariably leads to the loss of cryptocurrency and NFT collectibles stored in MetaMask wallets. How do they do this? How does the scam work? So scammers, and also this is not just for this. I mean, this happens with scammers, those phone calls. This happens with, support calls. People log into your computer. So this is also just a PSA to just pay attention. Like, don't let people log into your computer. So scammers on the Discord server send a private message to users who join the server and ask for help. And the message include an invitation to OpenSea support server for assistance, a fake site. After joining the fake OpenSea support server, the scammers invite the person to open a screen share so they can help them fix the problem. The fake support member urges the victim to sync their MetaMask Chrome extension with their mobile app, and then a QR code is generated, and the MetaMask mobile app syncs and import your Chrome wallet. This QR code allows anyone who sees it to take a screenshot and use it to sync your wallet with their mobile apps. The phony support agents could now access the cryptocurrency and any NFT collectibles kept within it by scanning the QR code on their mobile app. Then they can transfer the victims to their wallets. And this is all becoming too common. And so some of the things definitely is to take note to help avoid being scammed is never disclose your wallet's recovery keys. If anybody's ever opened up an account and had to fill out those 12 words, those better be written down on a piece of paper and stuck under the bed, in a safe, in a safety deposit box, not stored on your computer anywhere. Okay? Think about the most secure form of privacy in the digital age is by writing it on a piece of paper and putting it into a safe. Don't give out your password phrases or QR codes that are used for synchronization. And this isn't, a lot of people like, oh, this wouldn't happen to me, I will catch a scammer. Jim Browning is one of the top YouTubers out there, millions of followers, and he goes around scamming the scammers. They're hysterical, and there's a bunch of their scammer revolts. I got lost down the rabbit hole on this. There are people that just go and scam the scammers. All those telephone calls and also those emails you get. They go and they re-hack while their computer's getting hacked. They're actually hacking the other computer and everything. And they are so popular that the scammers actually know them and tune into their video live streams. And you'll hear them. It's like, the scammer's like, wait, that's you on the video right now. They're tuning in while they're getting scammed after hours. So, as fun aside, Jim Browning is one of the biggest scam baiters out there. He got scammed and had his YouTube account deleted because he got an email from YouTube that was so perfect, and all the words that were used were perfect. And when he got on the support chat with them, it was perfect. It's not stupid people, ignorant people, whatever, people that just don't know what's going on that are getting scammed. It is very smart people that are getting scammed. So especially in crypto and in NFTs, this space, please be careful. Be very careful. Once they get that account, don't store your information in your Google spreadsheets online. Store your information old school. So, and that's my PSA for today. Just be careful. And with that, let's change course and head over and check in with Angela about what's going on in the UK, where the article here we're going to talk about from Sky is almost 5,000 coronavirus cases investigated after Cornwall Music and Surf Festival. Angela.
Thanks, Peter. Following Boardmasters near Newquay earlier this month, 4,700 people tested positive for COVID-19, prompting a health inquiry. A council spokesperson claimed around 800 people have it in Cornwall. Cases are spread across the country. Festival goers aged 11 and up were required to show their COVID-19 status using the NHS app. Attendees had to show proof of double vaccination with the second dose given at least a fortnight before the event, or natural immunity after a positive PCR test done at least 10 days prior. Face masks were encouraged and welcomed, but not required, according to the website. A second NHS lateral flow test was required on Friday, 13th of August, and findings were to be entered into the NHS app. Attendees had to use the NHS app to verify COVID certification as a condition of entrance, stated a Boardmasters spokeswoman. Quote, the system detected more than 450 people who would otherwise have been at risk of passing on the virus, and as a result did not attend our Watergate Bay site or left the festival early. According to the most recent test and trace data, 76,000 people visited the festival or related activities in Newquay and the surrounding areas during Boardmasters Week. It comes as Cornwall and the Isle of Scilly recorded the second highest rate of coronavirus out of 312 areas in England, up from 383.5 per 100,000 to 717.4, with 4,129 new cases in the week up to August 19th. Business leaders are blaming a, quote, perfect storm of huge influx of visitors and a lack of social distancing on the surge in cases in Cornwall. Quote, we're witnessing an increase in Cornwall because we've had the largest amount of visitors ever, said one business owner. It should be stated, in case you don't know, Cornwall is one of the biggest holiday destinations for the United Kingdom. If you're doing what we've been referring to over here as a staycation during your holidays here, a lot of people choose to book holiday homes and hotels in Cornwall, as there's plenty of beaches and sea, sand, and surf, that sort of thing. And Boardmasters is a well-known festival that occurs in that area year on year. I know plenty of people who both played, were crew, and attended as festival goers to that festival. And so far, all of them that I know of haven't reported a positive case or having to isolate. However, now isolation rules have changed in the UK so that if you've come into contact with someone, if you are double vaccinated or naturally immune, you don't have to isolate at this stage. But if you're showing symptoms, of course, or have tested positive, they've asked that you stay home and isolate as well. Bear in mind that these numbers do sound like a lot, but they're merely cases and they don't specify the severity of the cases or whether or not they require hospitalizations, or even, of course, if they are in fact symptomatic cases. And obviously, the areas of those holiday destinations, as was mentioned in the article, are primarily very low population. So while the amount of population doubling and tripling in size in a very short amount of time would be a massive cause for concern, it wouldn't be so much in the sense of the amount of actual people, as there are very few people that live there year round anyway. Of course, we'll keep you up to date on this story, but it does certainly seem as though it's one of those things that was a bit expected, but hard to read in print as we're trying to move forward. Fingers crossed things get better, and we'll keep you up to date, of course.
Yeah, you know how like we have the COVID cards, and if you aren't vaccinated, you're not getting in, and that going on. And going deeper into this article, the business owner, he also added, and is like, urged visitors to be respectful, saying, quote, don't come down here thinking that you're on holiday and it's not going to affect you, because it absolutely is. You've got a higher chance of getting COVID by coming here than you have by staying at home. Is that his polite way of saying stay at home?
Yeah, I mean, this stage, like you say, they're overrun because people are not able to travel abroad the way they would normally. But there's not a whole lot of places. I mean, we're a small island nation. There's not a whole lot of places to go that aren't right on the beaches. I can tell you myself, I live in a seaside town as well, although it's not one that's frequently as visited as Cornwall is. And we've seen an uptick in visitors in the recent last couple of weeks. But next week, the kids will be going back to school. Hopefully the numbers will drop off for visitors. There aren't any festivals in that area. So we should be seeing those numbers return to a bit more of what we'd expect for an area of that size. And hopefully it hasn't done too much damage as we're moving into the 16 and 17-year-olds over the last 3 weeks have been offered their first jabs. So we're looking at vaccinating everybody over the age of 16 by sort of mid to late September, all told. So fingers crossed it works as well as we hope before the winter.
Right on. All right. Thank you for that, Angela. And we're going to have some more tomorrow. I have some other questions following up, but I know you have to get going, right?
Yeah, apologies. My other half has to do some work, so I have to look after my little one. I've got him at home with me at least for another week. So yeah, thanks everybody, and I'll of course be back tomorrow with more of the news. You're obviously in the very capable hands of Peter for the rest of the reads. Enjoy, they're good ones. Stick around.
I'm gonna mess this one. I'm all alone. I'm flying solo now. Eli is on her way to Philadelphia to go to a concert, an outdoor concert tonight. So, all right. So we just have a few more articles to wrap up. with this one, we're going to move over and still talk about the live music sector in Denmark. And we discussed it. We mentioned this last week, whereas some of the industries, the live music sector, were starting these protests against the Dutch government. And this one's from IQ Mag. And it's the Unmute Us threatens Dutch government with a larger protest. So the Unmute Us, the Dutch event industry campaign group behind Saturday's mass protest march, has threatened the government with an even larger demonstration if its questions are left unanswered. 70,000 people marched in protest of the arbitrary, incomprehensible, and unjust event limitations, the largest demonstration in the Netherlands since 2004. Now the campaign organization threatens a new and larger demonstration if the government doesn't respond to an open letter's 8 questions. Several of the 8 questions refer to findings from 3 months of Dutch pilot events that demonstrate the risk of COVID-19 infection is roughly the same as being home. In contrast, it goes on to say that Belgium, which has the same ratio of vaccinated and sick, is exploiting the report to organize massive festivals. The group asked the question, quote, what is suddenly wrong with field lab results while you, Deputy Prime Minister, fully embrace them during the press conference on May 28th? The letter also wonders why festivals may only debut on September 20th, a week before the festival season ends. And there's more questions saying, what arguments do you have for choosing the specific date? And do you realize that these measures, you are ruining the international leading position of the Dutch event industry? The letter also highlights issue around the government's coronavirus assistance to the industry, which will soon expire, the perceived betrayal of young people who got vaccinated to attend an event. So they were pushing people saying, you need to be vaccinated to attend these events. So then these people got vaccinated, and now they're saying they can't have events. And then the cabinet, their uneven attitude to infectious diseases. So to wrap this one up, it says, as you have noticed, we are able to mobilize large-scale protests, which despite their size remain positive and peaceful. But don't confuse our peacefulness with complacency. Our patience has run out, the letter concludes. All right. Yeah, it's we've seen it happening, and, a lot of people pushing back when it was, over in Great Britain. And also in London and the PM there. And it was so now the Dutch are just getting fed up of these changes. And it's not saying that we want everything to be open, or it's they just want to be open but it's this misguided information. Is that what they're talking about? So, all right, we're going to wrap up just a couple. We have 2 more here. Just one's a tech here. We have on the tech side. So TikTok expands its Shopify partnership, and it offers up these pilot TikTok shopping in the U.S., UK, and Canada. So, again, all these social media platforms just doing exactly what each other platform is doing. All right. This one starts off, TikTok enters e-commerce. The firm announced an expanded relationship with Shopify, as well as a trial test of TikTok shopping with select Shopify merchants. The new features in the TikTok for Business Ads Manager allow Shopify merchants to build, run, and optimize TikTok marketing campaigns straight from the Shopify dashboard. A new shopping page will soon be available on TikTok profiles for Shopify businesses that have TikTok for Business accounts. The new connection also brings the merchants product links for tagging products in TikTok videos. TikTok users can then click the tag product to be taken to the merchant storefront for payment. Instagram also has, it has a separate shop tab. Also, it's available in Reels. Facebook has had this. However, in TikTok shopping, the company is sent to the merchant's website to make the purchase and complete the transaction. Then Shopify handles the payments, whereas Instagram Shop allows users to pay directly from the app, which is a little bit more convenient. But, now we're going to be able to fund, all these 19-year-old creators, their lifestyles, which that's been doing on YouTube and on Twitch. So how do you look at this from a musician standpoint? How can you, take this and use this to your best advantage? Or is it just another tool on another platform that is oversaturating, what musicians and causing decision fatigue of wait, but I was on Instagram. Now I have to be on TikTok, or now TikTok has this platform and has this service. Well, no, Instagram has this service. Now I want to be over here. It's getting so confusing, but just keep in mind, pretty much every platform does the same exact thing now. So it's all there. And Instagram is no longer a photo sharing app. It's going to be a video app. That's going to be their big push. With that being said, let's wrap up with It's the Spot. The Spotify Spot. All right, Spotify is giving podcasters perks that will make independent music artists very jealous. Follow this one. All right, this is from Music Business Worldwide. Again, you can find all those articles at musicindustrycity.com. Click on the date, today's date for the Music Business at noon, and you can check out all the headlines that we were talking about. All right, so a little background on this. 3 years ago, Spotify became a music distributor, announcing it was to allow independent artists to upload music to its service directly without the need for a third-party aggregator. Then, Spotify acquired a minority stake in DistroKid, while opening up its distribution function so that artists could upload to all major streaming services via the Spotify platform. And the surprise severing of the music business middleman made a few senior label and distribution execs uneasy. Independent artists, though, were generally delighted and free to dream that a more direct relationship with fans on Spotify might lead to two particularly sumptuous perks, as the article says. Excuse me. One was saying that would artists soon be able to download contact data for their fan base, including a list of email addresses, straight from Spotify? And the second was, would artists be able to charge their superfans a monthly subscription fee direct on Spotify for access to their premium content? Great ideas. Amazing for artists. Well, neither of those happened. Spotify scrapped its plan to become a music distributor just 10 months after announcing it. Now, remember, just tie this in, it's going back, they say the music execs weren't liking this feature. Wasn't saying about Spotify. They were offering it. It was the music execs that were saying that they didn't like this feature. So as of yesterday, Spotify has launched these exact perks for independent creators on its platform in the U.S. Unfortunately, they're not available to music artists. They're only available to podcasters. So this has been made possible because Spotify owns the distribution mechanic between podcast listeners and podcasts themselves. So from today, podcasters can use Anchor to directly charge fans a subscription anywhere between 49 cents and $150 per month. And Spotify's public launch monetized subscription podcast follows a beta test of across 100 podcasts earlier this year. Creators in the U.S. can now mark podcast episodes as subscriber-only in Anchor before publishing them to Spotify and other platforms. In addition, Spotify says, and this is probably what's going to get the independent music, the musicians up in arms, is that Spotify has rolled out the ability for podcast creators in the U.S. to, quote, download a list of contact addresses for their subscribers so they can further engage with their subscriber bases and offer even more benefits. And Spotify also put on its blog, quote, we believe that offering subscriber-only content on Spotify, where it can be discovered by our base of 365 million monthly users, will enable more of that content to gain audiences and make real connections with them. That's also why we're providing creators with contact information for their subscribers. We understand that creators want to own their relationship with listeners, and we intend to empower that. Wow, what a great perk for podcasters. What an interesting thing, though. When we all signed up for a Spotify account, did we say we can give our email addresses to the people that we subscribe to? And what happens if we unsubscribe? We stop following them. So if we so it's if it's saying you can download the email addresses, so what if I unsubscribe? I have to then go unsubscribe from the email, or is that in the terms and conditions? So that's one thing. Second is, wow, this would have been great for musicians, and this is a fantastic opportunity. And a lot of people like to, rail on Spotify about being this big, bad platform that doesn't pay enough. Well, according to this article, it seems like it was the music industry that pushed back from this, because then it would bypass distributors and labels, and the artists can go directly to Spotify, and the artists could do this, which would have been great. But then again, it's also exclusive only to Spotify. So again, it's another hey, here's my Patreon platform, or the, gig economy is now moving to the creator economy and different platforms. So there's a lot to think about. If anybody has some thoughts, this is the last of the reads. And if anybody wants to just jump up on stage, feel free to raise your hand. Or if you have any comments in the video chat, and hi, everybody that is tuning in on the video live stream. And if anybody has some thoughts before I wrap up, just feel free to raise your hand. If not, we will be back here tomorrow. And we are going to be on vacation next week. So no music news next week. Everybody deserves a little time off going into Labor Day weekend. And we will be back. And we're going to have some changes coming to the program in the next few months. There's going to be a lot going on at musicindustrycity.com. If you're not registered there, can I twist your arm to get you to sign up? Because that's actually going to be giving you a lot more information with some big announcements that are happening in October. And we're going to be having a lot more events, digital content, broadcasting, podcasts. We're going to have a lot there. So with that being said, thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in to the Music News at Noon. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.